Welcome to the Real Estate Deal Room, powered by Home Loans Network. I am your host, Ebonie Beaco, a senior loan officer and mortgage strategist. And I've been doing this for over 25 years within the real estate investing world, as well as mortgages. So when I tell you I know my stuff, I know my stuff. Every single day, I work with so many different classes and groups of people, from first-time home buyers who is looking to purchase their very first home, for real estate investors who's trying to grow their portfolio, and realtors and other professionals who just really want the best for their clients. So I say that to say that you are in the right place. If you want to know everything about real estate, how to structure deals, or what's going on out there that can affect your deal, you got your girl here, Ebonie Beaco. I'm going to talk about everything on my podcast, whether it's like loan files, how to structure, and what's going on, that what makes deals falls apart. So when there's a big housing headline like today that hits the news, that kind of takes me off of my A game on teaching, my role is not to react emotionally or politically. My role is to really just explain what is going on and how this can potentially either affect or help your ability to buy, finance, or invest wisely. So with that being said, let me tell you what's going on today. So over the last several hours, today is January 7th, my phone has been blowing up, my email has been going up, and I am so nosy. I've been getting notifications all over the place. And those notifications is Trump and the investors. And I never talk politics, ever, not publicly like this. They want to know what's going on as far as the big institutions not being able to buy single-family properties, single-family homes anymore. I've been getting, Ebonie, what's going on with Trump and these investors? Does this mean big firms can't buy houses anymore? Is this finally going to help first-time home buyers? Should I buy? Like, hold up, slow down. I'm going to break that all down. And that's what prompted me to do today's podcast. So instead of answering this one person at a time, I wanted to do a full breakdown. Whereas in a real mortgage reality world, you will be able to understand. No panic, no hype, no fear. I'm just going to create flat out clarity. So when that announcement took place and it rolled out right today, and all of a sudden the news media hit it, before we even go any further, it is important to understand how this conversation started. So Donald Trump publicly stated his intent to take steps to prevent large institutional investors from continuing to buy single-family homes, and indicated he would push Congress to codify those restrictions into law. So this statement was then picked up by all the national headline news, right, from different outlets, from the mortgage industry publications, which of course I get those all the time, and mainstream media, which included CBS News, National Mortgage Professional, and so on, BBC. I can keep going on and on and on. But once that happened, the headlines spread it quickly across social media and so many different industry circles. Here's the thing, and what investors need to understand. A public statement or intent was made. The media cycle did amplify it immediately. Industry professionals, even such as myself, began to discussing like what the different implications were. And consumers started reacting to the point that some stocks actually started dropping today. But at no point during this rollout was a law even passed. Were mortgage guidelines ever changed? Were transactions paused? Were investors legally restricted? Especially my foreign nationals. And I say that because I work with a lot of foreign nationals. What occurred was an announcement and a conversation, not an implementation, was actually made. And in lending, we operate on guidelines and a law, not headlines. So this is what was happening. The exact wording that triggered the headlines was, I will ban large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. That is what Donald Trump said. That one sentence is powerful, and I understand why it was attention grabbing, right? But in real estate and lending, we don't stop at quotes. We break them down. And that is exactly what I'm going to do, break this down. What this statement means is, and let me be clear, a law has not been passed. I need you to understand that. A rule changed overnight has not taken place. Institutional buyers are not banned as of today, January 7, 2026. Deals are not being canceled, and buyers should not stop their plans of purchasing their dream home. Same thing with realtors. This was a policy proposal, not an enforcement. And it also could have been a threat. But unfortunately, these policy proposals and headlines can shake up the industry. It was intent, but it was not legislation. So understand that. Those distinctions are very critical. Now, let me explain what's actually happening right now. As it stands, I'm going to say this. There's no ban. No mortgage or lending guidelines have changed. Loan programs are operating normally. Sellers are still accepting offers. Investors are still buying homes. Closings are still taking place at the attorney's office and the titles companies. So with that being said, if you're buying right now, nothing has changed. If you're investing right now, nothing has changed. What has changed is the conversation, not the market. Whether it's rhetoric, whether it's factual, whether it's just a bunch of, a dog and pony show going on. But nothing has changed. This is where the most confusion part comes from. So I'm going to clear this up. When people hear investors, they think someone buying real estate or buying a rental. Someone is house hacking, meaning flipping properties. Someone with a few properties. That is not what the conversation is actually about. An institutional investor is a large organization such as a hedge fund, a private equity firm, Wall Street-backed real estate funds, large corporations. These entities buy hundreds or thousands of homes. They often pay cash. They buy quickly in a bulk. They target entry-level single-family homes or like distressed homes and distressed homeowners. And they use that to build long-term rental portfolio. They're not buying homes for them to live in. They're buying homes as a financial strategy. That is the distinction when it comes to understanding an institutional investor, which is a large organization. Now, the reason this became like such a big issue and how this conversation just really didn't come out of nowhere, because throughout the years, at least the last several years, a lot of large firms became major buyers. They competed directly with families using financing, even just like the small investors who's just trying to grow a portfolio. The cash offers actually, became more common. Starter homes became harder to access. So when buyers say, I'm not losing to another family, I'm losing to a company, that is actually frustrating. So for years, I was a realtor, and a lot of times my buyers was losing deals to these corporations, but you never knew who these corporations was. Now, don't get me wrong. Some were LLCs, meaning, okay, because I have LLCs and I buy properties in the LLCs. That's the different. But then there's the big corporation, the big hedge funds, the groups that comes together that have the money to say, you know what, I'm just going to buy up this huge portfolio right here. That experience is what has been driving this national conversation, unfortunately. So let me say this. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're actually listening to me right now, which I would love you to continue to listen to me, I want to speak directly to you on this. If in the future a large institutional investor was restricted from buying single-family homes, yes, this actually could help in some markets. It can actually mean less cash competition, homes staying available longer, sellers more open to financed offers, and less pressure to rush or waive protection. That's the upside. But let's just keep it real right now in reality, because I'm always finding the pros and the cons, but right now is the reality. Policy does not replace preparation. Even in the common market, like, you still need prepared credit, a down payment strategy, the right loan program that's going to meet your needs. A clean documentation, meaning verifiable, a lender who can structure your deal and approve it properly. No political announcement fixes will even help this, right? No headline fixes when it comes to income documentation can even help this. So with that being said, I'm going to give you an example, okay? As a buyer, if you're a buyer with a 620 credit score, FHA loan, I need you to visualize this with me, with a 3.5% down, right? And when I say 3.5% down, I mean 3.5% down payment. Right now, you might be losing to a cash buyer because that cash buyer say, you know what, I'll just buy this in cash. I don't have to get financing. I don't have to go through the appraisal process. Because one thing about going through FHA versus conventional, those FHA appraisers do not play. If they say this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed before the property can even be sold. So FHA is very strict when it comes to the appraisals to make sure that you are not buying a lemon and they are not investing in a lemon, okay? So again, you will more than likely lose to the cash buyer. If investors act slowly, your finance offer could be more competitive. Sellers may be willing to accept that offer, but only if your loan is strong and ready. So what I mean is, if a cash buyer, if the house is listed for sale for $175,000, a cash buyer comes in and says, I will purchase this home for $125,000. And to be honest, if they see that you don't have a mortgage, you're probably going to purchase it for $100,000 or maybe even $75,000. So you would never get the full thing. But what they're saying is, I'll purchase it for $75,000 and I can close in 5 days, period, point blank. I'm just going to, look to see if there's any liens or anything on a title, any kind of mechanical liens or whatever. That's all they're going to do. But then you, first-time home buyer, wants to purchase this property and you're willing to offer $175,000. But the problem is you're willing to offer $175,000 in a loan that can take 30 to 45 to possibly 60 days versus somebody closing within 5 days based upon them just doing their due diligence. Okay. So that is the difference. You can potentially lose out on a cash buyer. It's up to the seller who's selling the property to be willing to be patient to accept the full offer from you. And if it's an FHA deal, hoping there's not a lot of repairs that the FHA appraiser is asking. Unlike the cash buyer is going to accept that property well below market value and well below your asking price. And they're going to accept it as is. So definitely make sure your loan is always strong. Make sure you always have a pre-approval before you even go out with a realtor. Make sure you always have a pre-approval before you even accept, before you even make an offer and present a contract. And make sure your pre-approval is from a reputable company. Because just because you get a pre-approval does not mean it's reputable. And understand there is a difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. So you need a pre-approval, not a pre-qualification. There's a big difference. Now, let me talk to my investors here, right? I want to speak to my investors and I want you to listen closely. This proposal is not about banning investing. So if you own a few rentals, this is not going to affect you. Using DSCR or traditional financing, it's not going to affect you. If you're investing locally, it's not going to affect you. If you're trying to hold long term, it's not going to affect you. You are not the target of this conversation. This discussion focuses on large scale corporates buying, not individuals or small investors. That said, investors should always pay attention when housing becomes a policy topic. And the reason why I say this is because I want my investors to adapt to what's going on, but don't be afraid at the same time and do your research as to what's going on. Don't let policies and politics make your decision as to how you are going to invest when it comes to your passion, your dream, your want, which is real estate. When it comes to like, let's say investors, I'm going to give you some just simple examples. DSCR loans is still going to be working right now. Okay. Fix and flip loans right now, today, is still going to be working. Small multifamily investing may become even more attractive, but capital doesn't disappear, but it will end up getting basically reallocated. Now, on the real, how this is actually going to affect like the market in real terms, if something like this ever does become law, here's what would more than likely happen and what we'll see over time. Slower prices growth when it comes to entry-level homes, meaning the prices are going to grow but slowly. More breathing room for financed buyers, institutional capital shifting into other assets claim, but also rental supply tightening in certain areas. What that means is less rental housing. Everybody cannot afford to buy right now. Rent pressure is going to increase, so which means it's a possibility the rents are going to increase because the shortage of rentals is not available. Okay? More activity in multifamily housing, meaning everybody's going to be trying to rent. They're not going to have a shortage of housing, but the problem is, they're not going to have a shortage of tenants, but they're definitely going to have a shortage of housing. That's going to be a huge problem. And if they have a shortage of housing for all of these tenants, it makes it so much easier to increase the rent because rentals are going to be in high demand. This is good for a landlord. This is not good for a renter. Housing is a system, but policy can actually cripple that, and that's something you must understand. But what I don't want is politics to scare buyers in no form or fashion. Now, this is where I really want to speak directly to my buyers again. Do not let politics scare you out of home ownership. Housing decisions should not be based on campaign messages, social media opinions. And trust me when I tell you, there are a lot of social media opinions. I will tell any of my clients, my business associates, partners, if you cannot Google the individual and they are not verifiable or their company, please stop it. Social media sometimes can be detrimental to so many people because there's so many people who have given their opinions about things that they know nothing about. Fear-based headlines should not be your housing decision as to like what's going on right now. Your housing decision and how you buy should be based on your financial readiness, your local market, your professional guidance, such as that realtor that you're working with, that attorney, that loan officer that you're working with. Politics is short term, usually term, keyword is term, 4 terms, unless somebody either get impeached or whatever the case may be. Homeownership is a long term. That is your home for the next 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And if they do that 50-year mortgage, that's how long it's going to be your home, or unless you just decide to sell it and move on to the next home. Home buyers should only be talking about, talking to people that's going to help them. Like if you're thinking about buying a home, I need you to know who is going to be important in this process outside of your significant other or your family. Talk to your realtor. They know exactly what's happening in your neighborhood right now, in your market. Your loan officer, they can tell you what you qualify for today, how strong your approval is, what to improve, whether waiting helps or hurts. And here's something that I want to emphasize to you. When it comes to your loan officer, or even just yourself, a lot of times I've heard a lot of investors and buyers say, I want to only buy when the rates go down. Listen, the way the world is set up today, rates going to go down today and tomorrow they're going to go sky high, just like the gas. Look at the rates like gas. You never know when it's going to go up. You never know when it's going to go down. That is something I need you to understand. Marry the house, not the rate, because you can always get the house when you want it, but that rate is always forever changing. And if you can qualify for the house today at that 700 credit score, you get it. You can always refinance it. If you turn around and try to wait for this rate to go down, you will lose your dream house. So my biggest slogan and motto is marry the house, not the rate. Next, the other person I need you to talk to is talk to trusted professionals within the real estate and mortgage industries. They can be attorneys. They can be estate planners. Like I said, they can be just simply mortgage strategists or other real estate and investors. And when I say mortgage strategists, somebody who's not just talking about mortgages. Understand that, right? Somebody who's been there, done that. They didn't flip. They didn't done investing. They bought multiple properties. They've watched the market. They know everything that's going on. Don't you talk to a YouTube person who don't have a pot to piss in. I'm sorry, but I'm just being honest with you. I can proudly say I am verifiable. No matter whether you look me up as Ebonie Beaco, Ebonie Caldwell, it doesn't matter. I am all over the internet because what I do is good business, and I've been doing this for long. I've taught over 14,000 real estate investors or individuals to flip properties, whether it was real estate investors, whether it's wholesalers and first-time home buyers. I do what I do because I love what I do. Now, with that being said, this is what I need my buyers to watch out for. I need you to avoid waiting based on speculation, assuming policy talks equals immediate change. Because a lot of times this stuff needs to go to the House and the Congress and everything before it even passes. It doesn't matter who the president is and how much he or she may try to push policies and make people do things. The reality of it is it still need to go through the proper process. So with that being said, that's not happening no time soon. Stop believing in social media predictions unless you feel it's really verifiable. But I'm going to teach you, starting today, just Google, do your research yourself and Google it and cross-reference it. You don't have to use social media all the time. I use social media for entertainment or maybe sometime networking, but I don't use it ever to get my news or predictions. I need you to stop letting fear delay preparation. Most buyers don't miss opportunities because of politics. They miss them because they wait too long or they listen to the wrong voices. That's why I said, make sure whoever you listen to is a trusted, reliable source. What I want you to walk away with today is nothing has actually changed legally. This is not a ban right now. This is not a market crash. This is not a policy for conversation, so don't even worry about it. For buyers, just prepare yourself and just get educated. Listen to this podcast. Ask me questions. Send me inboxes. I love to give information, and I love to talk. For my investors, stay informed and adaptable. Understanding beats fear every single time. And I was always told by a friend, you're only good as your information. So with that being said, when you understand how the housing system works and how mortgage strategy fits into it, you will stop reacting to these headlines. You'll stop making rational decisions and start making smart decisions. It is okay to do your research. It's okay to listen to the headlines because this is why I'm doing a podcast. But I also did my research and just looked at different stats to say, okay, this is how it could or could not affect it. You want to be able to put yourself in a situation because you've done so much research and you listen to reputable sources that you are able to make a confident decision. That is the entire purpose of the Real Estate Deal Room, powered by Home Loans Network. If you want real estate and mortgage education explained in a way that it actually makes sense, please join me every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube at the Real Estate Deal Room. Until then, stay informed. I am your host, Ebonie Beaco. I want you to move smart and buy real estate in a professional, educated, and knowledgeable and smart way, to the point you're not buying a lemon, you're not buying upside down, you're investing in your future and in your family future and legacy.